Has life got you down? Do you sometimes feel like the whole world is going off the rails? Well, what if there were a solution moving forward? And what if, using just your smartphone, you could solve tons of problems? Today on the Promptsmith's Almanac, we're going to start by seeing what kind of problems we can solve using AI. A lot of the things that we're not taught in schools, at least here in the United States, would be on there. I would have to assume people being able to handle their finances on a macro and a micro level is probably going to be on there. I would imagine there are going to be some classic ones on there like world hunger, access to clean water. Now, the caveat I want to add to all this is these are problems that will need to be solved without government intervention, because in my view, these should be things that tomorrow, if you wanted to wake up and make a difference in a specific area and tackle and solve a real world problem, you should be able to do so without either being a legislator or a person in a position of power who has to sign off on something. A lot of the Promptsmith's Almanac will be focused on improving ourselves, of course, but here I think it's worth looking outward to society and see what we can do to make a positive impact, because if someone like Benjamin Franklin hadn't come around with ideas for lending out books, lending out knowledge, and sharing knowledge across different organizations, and holding yourself accountable for the self-improvements that you've set out for yourself, like he did with the Junto groups, society would not be as rich as it is today without that. I mean, imagine a world without libraries. I mean, that knowledge would be very exclusive, and I think we've been very fortunate through the centuries, at least in the United States, to have knowledge and information be relatively easily accessible. We'll see where the prompting leads us and try to solve some problems. The main purpose of the Promptsmith's Almanac is to improve oneself using generative AI and LLMs, and also to make the world a better place, a kinder place, a safer place, a more peaceful place. We're going to roll with that. We're going to go straight to the source here. We're going to start with ChatGPT. So let's get started. So I created a persona for GPT. I'm using ChatGPT first. That tends to be my default go-to LLM. And I wanted to have this persona be an expert in human psychology. So human psychology with a hunger to make the known universe a kinder, more peaceful, more equitable place. And I wanted it to leverage what it has heard in the past from users as far as problems, provide a list of the top 25 common problems human beings currently face, keep it in the present, that can be addressed at a micro and a macro level. And here's an important caveat to all of that: without the need of direct government assistance. Okay, so be straightforward with the insights. I don't want the fluff. I don't want ChatGPT to be my biggest cheerleader. That gets on my nerves. I know they're working on that, but yeah. All right, so they did pretty well with this. Absolutely, Josh. Here's a straightforward list of 25 pressing problems. All right, let's take a look. All right, so I looked through everything. Let's start kind of going down in reverse order here. We'll start with AI illiteracy. Of course, it's injecting itself here as the final one. Learning to prompt is absolutely important. This channel would not exist if that were not the case. Understanding AI strengths and limits, I think, is key, and you're going to see some of that, I suspect. On the macro level, free AI literacy workshops in communities, I don't think we're at a point where that's going to be a widely accepted thing. Breakdown in community trust is a big one. I think a lot of these are social in nature. So breakdown in community trust, fear of speaking up, difficulty setting boundaries. A lot of times you just don't see the sort of teaching or training that's needed to guide certain social interactions. So dealing with somebody who is by nature very combative, understanding how the hierarchy in a workplace or a society operates, and how to stand up for yourself. in a way that's effective without being harmful, I think is huge. Neurodiversity misunderstanding, I think that's going to be big. That's one I definitely want to take a closer look at. Unprocessed trauma, I think the jury's still out on direct therapy using AI, although I do think that that is definitely going to be the way of the future. Mental health stigma is a big one. I have my own stories and background to share on that when the time comes. All right, overconsumption and waste, that's a big one. I love the AI prompt with this one, a 30-day no-buy challenge. I would love to say that I could hold up to that, but I don't know. Ageism's a big one. Inconsistent self-discipline. This is the stuff that I would very much be into. I think there's a lot when it comes to like productivity here, lack of emotional intelligence, chronic stress. So building the right habits, habit stacking. Yeah, I could see that being a good one too. Lack of moral or ethical anchors. Yeah, absolutely. Underdeveloped critical thinking. Big one. Big one. Read diverse viewpoints, slow down reactions. You see what I did there? Logic clubs, philosophy. I mean, it's gonna be a little tough to get your average person into that, but I do think they're important. Being able to argue both sides of an issue is a lost art. It's a very much a shrinking art. I don't know if it's 100% lost or not, but it's getting there. Social isolation. Okay. This one I feel has a lot of potential to it. I'm going to flag this one too, because social isolation in this day and age, like what if you had an AI agent that could help you structure your social life? Like so I'm an introvert. Say me as an introvert wants to hang out with people, but I get overwhelmed by the thought of having to make that move, like that first move to contact them, or how long am I gonna stay? What if I just had an agent or an app that was just like, okay, so here's your schedule for the week, and it's a very soothing, kind of calm way that it would go about it, and then this is your dip out time. Okay, don't look at the invite, look at your dip out time, and then have like 3 to 5 phrases ready to go to say your goodbyes and be on your merry way. Yeah, keep note of that too. Maybe I could build that in Lovable. All right, unhealthy eating habits. I love the prompt for this one. Love it, because this is about as practical as a prompt gets. Give me a week's worth of cheap, healthy meals using only 10 ingredients. What more do you need? Low physical activity. You got no equipment, and ChatGPT tells you, here are all these 15-minute workouts you can do with no equipment. At the end of the day, you have no excuse after that. Knowledge gaps in financial literacy, budgeting, understanding credit. Yeah, these are huge. I mean, my kids are gonna learn the hell out of this stuff because it's just so important. Lack of purpose or direction. I want to prompt GPT now to ask me deep questions to help uncover my life's purpose, but I'm afraid of what it's gonna say. Poor communication in relationships, boundary setting message to my partners, kind of thing. That's a good one too. I think there are a lot of apps currently that can help with that. But I think that, having free resources is helpful. Lack of emotional intelligence. Yeah, I see this everywhere. And people don't seem interested in training for it for whatever reason. I think being able to read body language is huge. I think being able to understand how shifting the tone of your voice can either make you more authoritative or make you sound kind of weak, So that one's an interesting one as well. Chronic stress and burnout here at the top. So that's the top one. And I don't know if it's like the top, but it was the first one GPT threw out there. On the one hand, we could talk about something like social isolation. On the other hand, we could talk about something like chronic stress and burnout. Hold that thought. Once we're at a consensus, we will do the next prompt. If you like what you're seeing in these videos, hit that subscribe button, and thanks so much for watching.